Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. My name's Steve Taylor. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Well, welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we're making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. We are thrilled to have Ivan Beach with us today. They call you Principal Beach?
Many call me Principal Beach.
I'm a friend. I've known you a long time.
I'm gonna
call you Ivan.
That's perfect.
Or some call you Pastor Ivan or Pastor Beach.
Some say that as well.
Yeah, we get called a lot of things.
A lot of titles.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to have you as our guest today on episode 50. What do we say, bicentennial? Is that what this is?
That's great.
Man, we've done a few of these. Listen, let me tell them who you are. You are the principal at Deane Bozeman School, have been since 2020. Is that right?
I've been the principal since 2020, but I've been at the school for 14 years.
That's a good little bit.
It's been a good haul.
And you have you've been in education in a number of different roles in Bay District schools. It says here you're right. You were assistant principal. You've been assistant administrator, school counselor, and so you've done a few things along the way.
We've run the gamut.
That's good. There are good things happening at Bozeman. That's one of the big reasons I wanted to have you on. But before we dig into some of that, you are married to a incredible person named Jennifer.
I am. My lovely wife, Jennifer Beach. She's also an educator as well.
That's awesome. You got two girls?
Two girls, Haley, 27, Taylor, 18. Both are doing great here. But one's went to college here, and then it's working in the neighborhood, and the other is in Gulf Coast right now as we speak.
Well, I know your oldest, Haley. She's as sweet as can be, and I've seen a lot of really cool things that it looks like that Taylor's doing.
They're both great kids. I'm blessed.
It's good stuff. I want to talk about a number of things throughout this podcast, and I guess one of the things that I'm trying to do as we're interviewing principals is I want to humanize you, right? People sometimes think,
do.
They sometimes think that principals are these just a title,
right?
And you're a real person.
I am a real person. Please do.
And while you are a fantastic person, you also there's some things that I think they'll be fascinated to know. I'm going to go way back and just talk about juvenile justice department for a little bit. You before you were in the education side of things. You worked in the juvenile justice side of things.
Yes, I worked for the Department of Juvenile Justice. Started as a floor personnel detention care worker, and then started doing the training for the facility as I moved up, and spent 3 years in the department.
So you know a little bit about handling the discipline when it's required, I guess.
Yes, and that's one of the things that helped me, decide that I didn't really want to be on that side of things, because it's really hard to help on that side. And really, when your heart's to help people, it's really hard when they've already been convicted and they're in the system. And so, it makes it a little bit easier on the other side to make an impact to help people stay out of the system. So that's the main thing. I didn't really learn what to do there. I learned which side I wanted to be on while I was in the Department of Juvenile Justice.
There you go. You got a counseling degree also.
I do. My master's is in counseling. I was trained as a counselor. Spent a little bit of time doing family counseling and a little bit of addictions counseling. So, but it works great in what I do every day now. Well, the word on the street, I asked one of your employees, one of your team members, really, Christi Applewhite West. Yes.
Tell me the MO about Ivan. And she says that you love the students. You're great at creating a culture there. You're really good at creating an environment where the students want to learn and trust you. And I actually believe that's true. From what I know about you, so I think the counseling background has helped you with some of that.
I agree. You don't realize every day what students are going through. And when I was in high school, I was one of those students that didn't have people really checking in on me and investing in me. I was going through a life crisis, and one of the things that has shaped my philosophy about helping people is when you miss 48 days of school and your counselor comes to you and says, "Hey, you missed a lot of school. Let's help get you out of here." Well, that was the wrong question they asked. The question was, why are you missing 48 days of school? Yep. And so it's part of the philosophy. It drives me as an administrator and a human to help people. Let's find out what their story is and see what we can do to help, rather than just trying to get them pushed through. What can we do to help them? So if we can address some of those issues on an earlier time in their lives, maybe they won't have those issues later in their lives.
We've had an opportunity or two over the last, say, decade to to help some students along the way we'll find out that there's a need of an individual student.
Right.
And you and I haven't talked about many of those situations, but that has to come from the top, right? Like there's no doubt that you're aware that there's a teenager that has a need, and if they can get a hand up, then they might be able to get out into the workforce and become a well-developed adult, right? Like that's part of y'all are about that.
We're all about that. The whole child is really our focus. And you can't just focus on getting the grades that they need and getting the academic accolades that they need, because you don't know what that child goes home to. And so many of our students go home to nothing. There's no mom, there's no dad. We have students that are living by themselves within a mile of our school. I can take you to homes that have no doors and no windows and no running water that entire families live in.
Yeah.
And so when they're faced, their life begins in that cycle of poverty. What can we do to help them see that there's other alternatives, there's other ways out of the situation they're in, so that they don't have to live that life for the remainder of their lives?
Now, those that may not know about Deane Bozeman School, you guys are a K through 12, right?
We're a pre-K through 12.
Pre-K through 12.
Pre-K through 12. So we serve every student that can be served, we serve.
How does that look on campus? Like, part of the people that'll be listening or watching today are folks that may be moving to town or thinking about it. So, or is my kindergartner going to be with a senior in high school?
We definitely pair them up. No, I'm kidding. We don't do that.
No, you don't.
So when you come to our campus, I always tell everyone our campus is a giant rectangle, and on one side of the campus is elementary.
Yeah.
And then there's a middle school wing, and then there's a shared wing in the middle of campus, and then the other side of the campus is high school. And so we're also on two different schedules. A lot of people don't know that. We have an elementary schedule and we have a secondary schedule. So we try to keep all the students in every grade level, whether they're in elementary, middle school, or high school, separated as much as possible.
Okay. So you're over all three of those schools?
All three of the schools.
Awesome. And we've been up there to take backpacks and other things, and so it's been neat to see the different schools, I guess is the way to say that. I remember going up there and having an interview with or talking with one of the people in the elementary guidance office, and she talked about her babies. Like they love the children, and
they do.
That's going to be a different lingo, because I also remember going. I got Becky Pelton, and she gave me a tour of what they're doing with FFA. And that day, I walked into the main office, and I remember, if you hadn't been to Bozeman, you just need to know this. There's a big old buck.
There is.
A white-tailed buck. They're the Bozeman Bucks.
That's right.
And after I walk, it's like, what can we do for you? But it sounded like home. I've got kind of a southern accent. And
sure.
It just felt very, very warm. Now, as we talk about what's happening with some of the growth in the school, it was big news here within the last couple of weeks, I think, that they broke ground.
We did.
On a brand new building.
We did last week. We broke ground. We've been planning. I've been principal for 5 years. The first week of being principal, I was given a plan of, hey, this is a new building that's coming. But, coming out of the hurricane and all the recovery efforts, there's just a lot going on with that. And our district partner with the Florida Emergency Management Agency. And so there's some really interesting things about the building. It's supposed to be the first tornado. I hesitate to use the word proof, but it'll be a tornado shelter in a building, a classroom wing as well. And so
that's cool.
It is, making sure that we have places for kids to be safe is very important. And so if there's a tornado coming, we can put all the school into that building, and it'll be reinforced. And because our building is already a shelter, we were a hurricane shelter. We had people after the hurricane on our campus for 6 weeks. We lived on campus. All of us were there serving a few, just a little over 800 people who were living in our campus. So this building will be a great addition, but it also helped us serve about 600 more students. And so we're sitting at about 1,700, just shy of 1,700. We went over 1,700. We dropped back a little bit. So we're just shy of 1,700, and this will add another 600 seats to our campus.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'd read there was like 23 classrooms, which is...
It's 23 classrooms and an administrative wing.
Now, the idea that it's mostly high school, like that the space will be used for high school, does it still allow for y'all to use other space for different grades, or is it just going to add 600 to what the high school can handle?
Well, we're hoping that we can move our current high school, all of the things that are spread out, into that one building. Okay. And so the ag building is right next to this. And so hopefully we can put all the high school in there. The only thing they'll have to travel for would be the band room. And so other than that, all high school will be located there, and then we can grow in the other parts of the building.
That is awesome. I had somebody else. I was telling somebody I was getting ready to interview, and I was talking to them about the building. And said the big question is it going to be big enough, like to handle all the growth that's coming? And you're nodding like negatory.
It'll be full when it's open. It'll
be.
take us 24 months to build it. It'll be full. It'll be full the day we open the doors.
Isn't it the same question we get asked all the time now about infrastructure? Like,
Yes.
you're not going to have the roads and all the other
Yes.
stuff that comes with it till you have the people.
That's right.
And so it's just going to be a big rush to try
Yes.
to keep up.
Yes.
If people are not aware of the structure of our community, I should know exactly how many years, but several years ago, many years ago now, really, they moved the airport north of town.
Yes.
You guys,
2012.
Yep, and there. Okay, 2012. So there's basically between Highway 77 and Highway 79, the road. What's the name of the road that runs between those two? Do you know?
388.
So 388 runs between them. That used to, when we were growing up, you and I.
That was the country.
Yeah, back when we were students at Mosley years ago.
Yes.
That was way out in the
There was
country.
nothing out there.
And what I think that whether we're talking as pastors or we're talking as you as a principal, what we're seeing is that crises tend to cause development and change to happen at a faster
right.
pace. And so all of those areas that are further out, further to the north, they're developing very rapidly. Are you seeing
Yes.
that out there?
We are. There's 4 major neighborhoods coming in around Bozeman right now. Lake Merrill just broke the ground on their 1,000 home development. Right beside Lake Merrill is another huge development coming in. I saw the sign this morning actually on the way to work. It's the first time I've seen it. Osprey Point Village is just south of Bozeman.
Okay.
And then on the other side of the road, there's another development coming. I was in a meeting about 6 months ago that there's already been 6,500 housing permits solidified from the Bailey Bridge to Highway 20.
Say that again. How many?
6,500.
So that's houses. That doesn't count the people that would be in the houses.
No, and we generally go on 2 to 3 students per house. So if you think about that, that's a lot of students.
It is a lot of students.
So this area is just booming. It's just massive growth.
Yep. We're very blessed with all of that. I think we're blessed with all of that. And one of the reasons I feel that way is because I think it's going to bring opportunity
Yes,
to those that are currently residents here.
I agree.
So one of the things that we've learned through the years is there's a couple of different parts of the audience out there. I mean, in addition to your I've got some sweet old ladies at the church that listen, thankfully, but we have folks that may be getting ready to move here from a military background. Who may be asking about questions about schools. There are also people that may be considering bringing their business here and wanting to find out what's happening in the area. And so you said earlier when we were talking in the pre-interview, it's not a bad thing necessarily to fly under the radar, right?
That's right.
You guys have for a long time.
We have.
But I want to be able to tell people there's an A school. There's been an A school for, you said 6 years?
6 years.
On the north part of our town that is growing, and it has some phenomenal programs going on.
That's right.
Now, if folks want to know more about some of those, I love the FFA program and what y'all are doing with that. But y'all have gotten national and statewide recognition
We have.
for what you've done as an FFA program.
Yeah, so last October, we were recognized as one of the top 10 FFA programs in the country. So we were actually talking with Ms. Pelton the other day, and we were going back. We were trying to think about, how long, because the program's been up about 10 years, but we've been on the national stage for the last 7 years straight. So that's like unheard of.
It is unheard of.
That's unheard of. So that, and for people who doesn't know what that means, I mean, we've been in the national competition in one category or another. We have been standing on the national stage in the top 5.
Out of thousands of chapters.
So yes, out of thousands of chapters.
Yeah.
And so it's a really big deal. And our students, obviously, they're the ones that are making it happen, but our leadership as well. Ms. Peltonen, Mr. Sims, Mr. Mills.
Yep.
There's 3 different ag teachers in our department, and it's just a fantastic program. And so people moving to town, we're the only FFA program. And I would tell you, I would love to see FFA in every high school and every middle school, because it's not just about the animals. When we think about the future farmers of America, we're not behind plows anymore. It's all math and science. It's all engineering. There's so many great things that students can focus on, from veterinarian medicine inside the program to engineering. And so it's a great opportunity.
if my kids are both grown, but if I had kids that were still in that age group, I would love for them to go to the FFA
Yes.
program. One little point that I would make is a couple of months ago, maybe probably in a month, I saw you. I didn't expect to, but like you were there. I think partly because you had some receiving awards at the school board meeting.
Yes.
And one of the things that I noticed, because I was only there to open in prayer, right? I get to do that periodically. But what I noticed was that unlike, and we got a lot of great students that got a lot of great awards, but when the kids that were from FFA, from Bozeman, stood up and were recognized, they went to every single school board member, shook their hand, because this is part of their training, right?
It is. It's
like public speaking is part of that.
It's a massive part of what they do. And why I love that is because so many times students aren't getting that from their parents. The manners are kind of a thing of the past sometimes, but inside this program, it's just built in to teach them. If you're going to be a great leader, you recognize people. You go up, you look them in the eye, you shake their hand,
Yes.
you tell them your name, you greet them. And so while we do this, it's kind of a lost art with these new generations. And so it's just a great part of the program. And they also teach them the public speaking skills. They have to stand up and present in front of large crowds. And it's just a lifetime skill they're going to have.
It is. One of the things, like from child development standpoint, is that I see a lot of teenagers that struggle with the same basic skills. Right. Like, can they go to the counter and actually order their food?
Right.
And a lot of it has to do, I think, with, and I'm not knocking cell phones, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that we text and we don't actually talk face to face. But in the real world, when they go to get a job, and if they seek to get married and build a relationship, they've got to talk.
Yeah, students today will sit as close as you and I are sitting and text.
Yep.
Well, when your boss wants to talk to you, he's not going to text you. And you're going to have to be able to have conversations.
So I am a fan of the FFA for those reasons. But if you want to see a whole podcast on it, we're going to put that in the show notes.
Yes.
So they can hear all about, and you can see Becky Peltonen and some of the students come and share their story. Which
fantastic program. You can't say enough about it. It's a great program.
No, it is a good program. Y'all have had a good run with athletics as well.
We have.
Which is important to a lot of families that move here. And so I think it's important to make note of that. Can I call out Evan Ernest, who's a senior weightlifter?
Sure.
I've got a note here. He's won 2 gold medals at the FHSAA state championships.
Back-to-back state championships. Unheard of.
And if I'm missing something here you want to throw out, you tell me.
Sure.
But I know that in baseball, y'all just won the 2A District 1 championship.
So we won districts, and then we made it into regions, and then we were in the Final Four, and we got knocked out of the Final Four. Now we were playing the number 9 team in the nation. So
I'm familiar with Trinity School over in
Trinity Christian
over in Jacksonville, and that is a private school.
It's a private school, and we scored more runs on them than any team has scored this year.
Yes.
And we had them against the wall. We had them backed up against the wall, but they won. They did a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 7th. It was a tough loss, but great experience for our kids.
I have loved seeing the development. I guess this comes from just being a local kid, local boy, maybe is the way to say that. But I remember when Bozeman wasn't, right? And so to go up to that stadium now and to see on a Friday night at a football game.
Yeah, thousands of people.
The band, the football team. Y'all got an award-winning band.
There's none better. I know there's a lot of band competition in Bay County, but we've had a long storied history. Mr. Peru, who's now moved into administration, and but it just keeps rolling, and it's just good stuff, and it's such a great program. It's a huge program for such a small school.
Well, and again, I'm just going to keep bragging because I'm going to brag on whatever principal in his school is in front of me. Not just that. I do really like you, and I like Bozeman. But in terms of spring academic achievement, the highest GPA was recognized in the county in several sports, and Bozeman had 4 teams. Let's see, you got softball. It had a high GPA there. You got boys and girls track. Am I missing somebody?
I think that was it. I think that's right. That's correct.
But of the teams that were recognized, y'all had, I think, 3 of the 4 that were recognized. Y'all had them.
We did.
And so there's some great athletes making great grades and learning some good manners.
Yes.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. Another program that we have is our Bozeman Collegiate Academy. And so,
tell me about that.
So it's our basically pre-college program. Okay. And so when I was the assistant principal, we developed the program. And so we've just grown it and grown it and grown it. And so where students can come in and get college credit. Obviously, we do a lot of the similar things that the other high schools do, but we take a lot of trips in the side of this program to businesses. We also take students to different university campuses because we want them to see what's out there. We want to expose them to the opportunities that they have. We bring in panels every 9 weeks.
Yeah.
We ask community leaders to come in and speak from every kind of industry, every kind of occupation that you can think of. We ask people to come because we want those students to see this is what happens in this job day in and day out. And because if we can spark one conversation that has a child in their mind go, I think that's what I want to do with my life, then we've been successful. And so our goal is to just let them see the opportunities and kind of point them down paths that they may not have thought about before.
It's really good. You have made quite a few statements about development that's happening in and around Bay County and in the region that you're at. I know that you went through a program through Florida's Great Northwest, which is essentially an organization that advocates for development all over Northwest Florida.
Yes.
Jennifer Conley runs that
Yes.
organization. That's been a good experience for you, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. We actually had the graduation last week. So Florida's Great Northwest sponsors Leadership Northwest Florida under Jennifer Connolly and Casey Killebrew.
Okay.
And those are just
Casey's sharp too.
absolutely amazing women that are doing amazing things for Northwest Florida. And so for me, one of those just absolute highlights is seeing all the things that you just drive by every day and do not realize what they are, and all the job opportunities. And so there's so many things already in Northwest Florida. I mean, Bay County is no exception. I mean, we went to so many things from, Tyndall to the port, to our medical things that are happening, to the new hospitals, just all the things that are coming into our area. There's just so much opportunity. And so, but we also got to see that in the Big Bend region. We got to see that in the Franklin County region. We got to see that in the Escambia region. And we did all of the counties from the Alabama line to Tallahassee. And so it was just such an eye-opening experience.
Well, I love that as a principal that you're continuing to learn what is around and happening in other places, as well as what the potential is here and what the workforce here
Yes.
needs. All of those, I think, are great things. You mind if I talk pastor stuff now for a little bit?
We'll shift gears. Let's go.
All right. So, so Pastor Beach, you are the pastor of Bayside Church.
Yes.
Which you founded in.
Yes, in
I mean,
2000.
Jesus is Lord,
he's
right?
he's the founder. He's the rock.
Yeah,
but we help one of his locations. We're one of his campuses.
Yeah, in 2007, right?
2007, and we started in the Martin Theater downtown Panama City.
Okay.
And a couple of years later, we ended up buying a facility, and then right now we're located off Balboa Avenue.
Some people probably remembered you when you were there by Bay High School.
Probably so,
And
yes.
so, and you and I were talking a little bit off air. I think it's a God story and a good story. Can you tell me, like, because I was trying to remember, man. We really don't get to talk enough.
Sure.
And y'all have been in your new space since right about the time of the hurricane.
So we sold our building to the school district that was literally right beside Bay High School in 2 Fridays before the storm.
Okay.
And then the next Friday, we signed on the dotted line for our building that's off of Balboa. And then the storm happened 4 days later.
And it damaged both of them.
They were both laying on the ground. It was rough. I mean, so the building that we were meeting in and all of our equipment was destroyed. And then the new building that we were so excited about that was beautiful and new, and we didn't have much to do to get it ready. Literally the roof was laying beside the building in the parking lot, and the storm just blew through it and just sucked everything out the backside of the building. So, yeah, it helps you trust God.
It does. It does.
really-
And it's been a journey.
It really
I'm
does.
Sure,
It really
man.
does. So,
We said it quickly, but I know that it's been a lot to continue going.
Sure.
Great things are happening at Bayside Church.
yeah,
now.
I mean, we're so fortunate and so blessed, and we grew through the hurricane process. I would like to throw a name in there we didn't discuss. Many people here may not know who Todd Herendine is,
Okay.
but Todd is our local Elvis
I was
impersonator.
going to say, I know he's Elvis.
So, what a great believer, though.
Okay.
From a pastoral perspective, we were driving around. We had nowhere to go, nowhere to meet. So many churches were destroyed.
That's true.
And so I was driving over the bridge, and I was literally driving down there praying, God, we gotta find somewhere to meet. Where are we going to be able to meet at? And I looked up and I saw the Todd Herendine Theater. And out of the blue, I just picked up the phone. I called him and I said, hey, man, we don't have anywhere to go. And he said, hey, come talk to me. So we met. Todd, the most genuine, humble guy you'll ever meet. And so he let us meet in his building for about 8 months. We partnered with another church. We all met there together.
Yeah.
Would not let us give him a dime.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was awesome. So we did talk him into letting us pay the power bill. And so we paid his power bill.
That's a big deal.
Oh, it was amazing. And so get out there and support Todd. I mean, he has a great ministry. He travels around. He does an evangelist when he's not doing his Elvis impersonations. He's a great speaker, a great singer. He loves the Lord, and he's invested in our church and other churches in Bay County. It's great.
Maybe we can find the link to that and put that in the show notes too.
Yeah,
I mean, is he still doing regular Elvis impersonation shows in the summer?
He does that, but in the off season, he literally travels around and evangelizes.
Okay.
And so he just travels around, and
I have met him. He's a super nice guy.
Just the nicest guy, and just a genuine believer. So he really helped us out.
So can we talk about what time y'all meet on Sunday?
We can. We have one service on Sundays at 10 a.m.
Yep.
So just one Sunday on service, and then on Wednesday nights we have life groups and youth groups and children's programs and all those things on Wednesday nights.
We'll put the link to your website.
Sure, that'd be awesome.
And
Thank
if you need somebody to affirm, like, listen, Pastor Beach is a good guy. Probably more like Paul than me in the sense that he's a tent maker too. Like he's got full-time job and probably another full-time job in trying to pastor and always something going on. I respect highly what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, God's been good to us, and we can't complain. And on that note, you know, I've always just felt like the Lord spoke to me and said, "I want you to work a job. I want you to do both things." And it gives you a little bit different perspective on things in life and how other people are doing things. But it's a lot, but it's also just a massive blessing in the same sense.
It's a calling, isn't it?
It's definitely a calling.
Yeah, I know enough about you to know that's definitely the case. Man, you love the community here like I do.
I do. That's why I've stayed.
I love the way you say that. We could have gone somewhere else.
Could have.
And we could have later chosen to go somewhere else. But we love this place and we call it home.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, home is a place where everywhere you go, people know you. And here it's just such a nice, we just have great people here. I don't know if people can truly understand. There's just great people in our community. There's great churches. There's great opportunities. There's just great people. And so, you know, when you think about raising your children, where do you want to raise your children? You want to raise your children around great people and greatness. Yeah. And we really have those opportunities.
You can spend, especially these days, an awful lot of time dwelling on what's not what we like it to be.
Sure.
Or you can do what we're doing right now and talk about how blessed we are.
That's right.
To live where we live, amongst the people that we live.
Sure.
The people that we know, the people that some of them are people that watched us grow up.
That's right.
And now we get to love them in old age.
That's right.
And some of it has to do with another generation that's coming up who, like the generation before, we're working hard to make their lives better as they step into what's their futures. I mean, that's our kids too.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we just get this idea, we just got to go. We got to go see the world. And it's great to go and travel and see things. And it's okay for your kid to go off to college somewhere else, but encourage them to come back, go learn what they've got there and bring it back and help make our community better. I mean, that is our ultimate goal, that everything we do makes our community better.
Love it. I think we've done a good job of humanizing you. I really do. I
appreciate that.
I like who you really are. Like you're not just a title.
Sure.
So one other question I want to close with.
Okay.
How do you enjoy yourself in Bay County in Northwest Florida whenever you're not teaching and preaching and doing the things you do?
So this is what I always tell people. I said, when you come to Bay County, if you're looking for a big city, you're probably not going to like a lot of things here. But if you love the outdoors, there's just no better place. And I know you love the outdoors.
I love the outdoors.
I've seen you with a couple of fish. Fishing is not my gift.
Okay.
But I love to boat. So when I'm not at work or we're not at church, we tell people we're a boating church. So lots of people in our church boat. And so we love to meet at the island and hang out and just boat together and those things. But
that's great.
I love the outdoors. I dabble a little bit in hunting. I like to deer hunt. But sometimes I think it's more about just sitting in the stand and watching what's happening in the woods.
It's hard to beat.
So I'll throw this in there. I know we're probably short on time. When it snowed,
yes,
I know everyone was told stay at home.
We say that because it never snows.
It never snows. Stay. So I got up. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going hunting." She said, "You're not supposed to go anywhere." And I said, "I'm going hunting." She said, "You can't get out on the roads." I said, "Watch me." She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "This is the only chance I will ever have in my entire life to hunt in the snow."
Yep.
And it was the greatest morning. I didn't see a thing. But it was just a white, food plot.
It's like a movie.
And I was sitting there. Oh, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. I loved it. And so I love to get in the outdoors. I mean, I love it, whether in the water or the woods. I just love the outdoors.
So I don't know if the viewers will find this funny or not, but that morning before, right up until the snow started, and even after it was falling a little bit, I was on a pond fishing. Because when am I ever going to get to do that?
Ever. That was my exact sentiment. It's my one and only chance. I got to do it.
My brother. Hey, listen, it's been great having you as our guest.
Yes, thank you so much.
Off air, let's get together more often, okay?
That'd be awesome.
Y'all keep doing good stuff. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We are so grateful for all of our longtime listeners, but we'd also love it if you would like and share it with others so that they too can be encouraged by the content.